psycho chickens of cyberspace. It's Troy Casey, your leader, back on the scene here on planet Earth. Good old planet Earth. I love it. There's the mountains up there. Love them too. All right, so viewers are asking me about all the mass psychosis. I'd like to remind you what the KGB journalist Yuri Bezmenov talked about, the 4 stages of psychologically manipulating a culture so you could take them down. This is Cold War stuff. Marxist Manifesto is all about divide and conquer, and they took it one step further to demoralize, destabilize, then offer solutions. So what they want to do, of course, in the UN Agenda 21, etc., is one world government. That's what they want. One world currency, one world religion. They want full control over everything. And so they're demoralizing us, confusing us. Nothing is more confusing and a mental health issue if you are denying your own gender. Life on Earth has certain elements of biology and basic fundamental principles. And procreation, you need a man and a woman with sperm and eggs. And so these are all scientific facts or just plain old facts. Scientism has been adulterated, and so the scientists are the prostitutes of the modern era, I like to say. And so a lot of science has been bought and paid. So I don't like to dip so much into that because people are pretty all doped up on that. And then they're gender bending and science bending and scientism bending. And so the fact of the matter is, what do we have? We've got MrBeast, one of his proteges, one of his sidekick inner circle, trans person was grooming a child, and that came out in the news, and then he stepped down from the whole MrBeast thing. MrBeast is the first billionaire on YouTube. He is one of the major cats on the situation scene for the new digital social media entertainment celebrity situation. And so whatever the case may be, and I respect all people. Now, what people are doing, I don't necessarily agree with, right? And this is my free speech to disagree with whatever agenda is being propagated. And so the issue is, this is women's abuse. We're also going to couple this conversation about the trans boxing situation in the Olympics. Born males with male testosterone, which males have 10 times the strength or testosterone that a female has, is going into the ring for the Olympics, right? The first time. Instead of just allowing these women to compete on their level, they've allowed men, trans men or trans women. I get so confused, right? It's crazy making, right? And this is part of the demoralization. If you don't know what's what, and you can't classify, and you can't have a basic conversation, and I got to get your pronouns right, because that's your mental illness, right? Where's that mental illness coming from? It's coming from, well, if you look at Robert Kennedy Jr., it's coming from the chronic disease and the chronic injuries that people are suffering from poison injections, as well as the poison food, right? This is a big part of Robert Kennedy Jr.'s agenda. Again, I'm apolitical. You can call me an extreme centrist, right? I have very conservative values, family first, God, this country is a good idea, even though my mind can conceive a world beyond prisons, passports, borders, police, weapons, nuclear weapons, all of that stuff. We're not there yet, right? I pray for peace, peace in the Middle East, right? That's where my heart and soul is at. And I find peace within inside myself first, and then offer that olive branch out to other people, right? Everything's an inside job. Begin within. But if we were looking at what's being propagated down the commercial conduits, as I've talked about for a very long time, and what is the Olympics? This is the grand stage. Olympics, the election selection situation, Kamala Harris, all these things are the grand stage, right? And the media is owned by the globalists, the multinational conglomerates, the people that own the oil companies, the banking system, the drug system, etc. Weapons manufacturers, these are all intertwined multinational conglomerates to keep things the way they are and program the brainwashing so that people are confused and weakened. The last thing the control or tyrannical types of people want is strong males, right? That's the last thing that they want. So they want to confuse, demoralize, destabilize the consciousness. And what's very important when you're doing that is to spread this level of mental health, mental illness, and then have everyone accept this level of mental illness. This whole trans agenda, this pedophile, leading with sexual debauchery, leading with your sexuality. And so this type of stuff is unacceptable, especially when you're looking at children that are not developed psychologically. You see this all over the internet where people are dealing with trauma, right? Somatic release, trauma, all these new techniques. A lot of people are doing plant medicine. You damage and maim someone for life, then they're much easier manipulated down the road. And so this is just mass confusion and utter disrespect for the females. Utter disrespect, especially if you're allowing biological males to beat the shit out of women, right? Since when was that legal? Think about that. And now we're legalizing it and asking everyone else to accept it for inclusion and diversity. Equity, inclusion, and diversity. Is that what it's called? DEI, right? Which is all double speak. What did Orwell call that? Ladies and gentlemen, reporting live from planet Earth, it is Captain Informer, here to give you his opinionated opinion. And so Orwellian doublespeak, what did they call that?
Well, I think in 1984 they called that Doublethink.
Doublethink.
Doublespeak's a book that was written. I forgot the guy's name. Basically, it's language designed to make not so normal things normal.
Normalizing dysfunction.
To everyone, and they do it through language, so everyone just thinks that they're saying one thing and really it means something else.
Creating slogans.
All that type of stuff.
War is peace.
Yeah, but the big thing is just look at, they talked about all the women's rights.
Freedom is slavery.
They talk about, remember the feminist movement, and then they talk about, there's a lot of women out there that also, they don't see, they're like, oh, it's not fair, men get this, we don't get that, or whatever. Anyways, no matter how you look at it, one of the biggest movements right now with the whole trans thing, that's one of the most disrespectful things that they've ever done to a woman. They're basically just taking men and turning them into women, supposedly, and then just letting them have at it. Instead of a woman's time to shine, it's a man that steps in there and does it. So it's quite the interesting thing.
So, and we're dealing with what? Xenoestrogens in the food. We're also dealing with adjuvants and mercury and heavy metal poisoning to affect the biology, the endocrine system. Poison injections, poison in the air, the water, and the soil. And this microplastics. So this is changing the hormonal structure. It's also making people insane, mentally ill. And then they're hitting it with frequency. They're also finding nanobots. Talked to Dr. Edward Group the other day, and they're seeing synthetic red blood cells. Nanobots in our human materials. And so
also normalize that a little bit by getting everyone all doped up on the biohacking stuff. That goes directly into
peptides,
all the transhumanism,
injections,
nano biotech. Whenever you hear bio and tech together, that is transforming biology into technology.
So what is the whole transhumanism agenda and frequency warfare? I mean, how does that tie into all the pedophilia and the mass confusion? And
it's all just one big game that all comes together to break down what we have here and make it normal to be broken down and then eventually be exterminated and taken over. That's essentially what the big game is.
Oh yeah, didn't the Georgia Guidestones say that they wanted to reduce the population?
They did. And then they also took them down and tore them down a couple years ago.
They wanted to reduce the population to 500 million.
Once enough people knew about it, they took those stones down and said some terrorists went and blew them up or something. And it was written in stone, like the 10 Commandments. Imagine that.
Written in stone.
Or like a graveyard, a tombstone.
Or like Stonehenge.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And they blew them up in 2020 when people started getting waking up to getting hip to it. So look, guys, we got to have a certain level of humor to all of this, because this is the simulation. This is the matrix. And artificial intelligence is neither, right? And it lacks humor. So we got to have a big laugh at this. And the only thing you got to do is not consent to the fuckery, right? Start understanding common law, understanding that you are the living man, the law, the living law, right? The land, the air, and the water. And start reclaiming your authority. Be the author of your own life. Live by design, not by default.
And that all that could be summed up in a word known as investments as well. So most people think of investments as just some money thing that's going to make you more money or return an investment, right? A positive gain. Well, investments are everything. So no matter what we're doing every second of every day, giving our intention and our energy to, and of course our currency as well, whatever form that is, that's what we're investing into. Every single thing. So imagine that. And think about that when you're actually doing stuff. Like, what is it that you're investing into? Because that's what matters. Things that are invested into grow. And things that you invest into grow for you. So what is it?
So who are you hanging out with? What restaurants are you frequenting? What public facilities? What social media are you consuming?
Are you rooting for a transgender boxer to defeat a woman in the Olympics?
Right? Are you just thinking that, oh, MrBeast is just another celebrity. Oh, all his celebrity friends, they get a pass, right? Or should we question everything? Should we question absolutely everything that is going on and stand up for what's right? Having a good moral compass. Also practicing self-governance, self-care education, taking care of your instrument so that you have mental health. Physical health, so you are not a burden on society and or your family. Mental health, emotional health, spiritual health, having that moral compass, aligning with people. Many of you guys see what's going on with me and Andy Elliott and the Elliott Group and how they scammed me out of $50,000 and delivered nothing and stole my copyrights and all that stuff. I ripped at 50 assets. Right? And then there's a whole bunch of people defending them.
Well, a lot of people are addicted to abuse as well, so that's kind of like an abusive thing on the internet with a lot of the coaching and yelling at people and telling them they suck and all that type of stuff. So people gravitate towards that because they're addicted to that abusive cycle, no matter what they're claiming. If they're paying into it and they keep doing it, that's an addiction. So.
Yep. So we talked about this in the State of the Union, and a lot of this has to do with the wars that we went through, World War I, World War II, and the cycle of abuse.
And the reason why governments and certain things have so much power is because they are abusing their captors, their slaves. And the more people still worship them while they're being abused, the better off they're going to be. It's power. And that is why you see people running to the polls and turning on the Olympics when they know stuff like this is going on and sending in their money to all this stuff that's directly abusing them, because on a collective consciousness, most of mankind is addicted to the abusive cycle still. And they're going to be until they take action to get more fully integrated with their health and all of their well-being.
Full embodiment of ideas of holism, holistic health, functionality, embodiment. Mind is an embodied process. You are the sum total of your ideas. And so remember to question everything, even including what we're talking about right now. Question everything to the nth degree. And if you are really for the respect of women, then I would question everything that's coming down with the trans situation. What level of mental illness is. And then society is supposed to bend over now and kowtow and cower and entertain all this mental illness. Fuck that.
You gotta be politically correct.
Yeah, fuck all that shit. Right? I am correct. How about that? I come correct. Don't tread on me, right? Do no harm, take no motherfucking shit.
Yeah, here's another thing too, really quick. So the more you're investing into your own moral compass, whatever that is, and you're standing up for what's right, that you truly feel in your heart, and your consciousness, the more you invest into that stuff, the more you're going to see who and what starts to repel from you. So you're going to become a lot more clear. There's going to be less distraction around you. You're going to have less friends most likely. Or you're going to actually even have more friends, because the ones you actually will have will be a better attraction to you than the ones that you were pretending to be like to be around. So the investments bring in more of what you're investing into. Again.
All right, guys, thanks for investing into this video. God bless you. I appreciate you so much. Tune in next time, baby. Certified Health Nut out.